Hello and good evening to the Forest Lake Morning Show, or possibly the Forest Lake Evening Show tonight.
The evening show.
My name is Tyler.
I am Brendan.
And today we're bringing you a little bonus episode, something we mentioned on a previous podcast that we would do following the 65th annual Grammy Awards that happened last night on CBS. Hopefully you were able to watch it. It was actually pretty entertaining. A quick bit of information here for you, Brendan, and all you viewers back here at home. The Grammys have actually struggled over the past few years since 2020, right before the pandemic hit. Viewership had fell quite a lot. And I think the rise of TikTok and many other streaming platforms and just Instagram in general or online social media, people lost interest in a 3-hour-long award ceremony.
Yeah. Honestly, it's kind of like watching like the NFL draft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You stay there for the beginning, for the big
or
things.
the big moments. You pop in for your team, your category, whatever it is, and then you bounce.
Yeah.
You do your own thing.
Except in this case, the big events at the Grammys are held for the end for that reason, because they don't want you just watching for the big four that Brendan will get into here later, the big four winners, the big four categories as they call them. They would like to keep viewership up, and they did. They had a surge of about 30% over the past 3 years. Viewership had hit 12.4 million views last night. So again, largest since 2020. So shout out to the Grammys.
That's cool.
I will say the content that was put out yesterday for the Grammys was of a negative nature.
I think it's keeping on track with the Forest Lake Morning Show to question everything, give your opinion, and just say it how it is.
I like that you say that we question everything, because we certainly do, as much as opinion as we put into things. But the Grammys do have a bit of a stigma around them as far as some racism involved into the statistical breakdown of who wins awards. That's a whole other conversation, something we're not going to get into today. We don't have the facts and the proper information to actually speak on behalf of that, but it is out there. And also, like, the information we did put out was the unfair voting system, and actually something we potentially did see in one of the awards that was given that Brennan will go over today. With that being said, you watched it through, intermittently. You kind of did your own thing. What were your impressions, your thoughts, feelings? Do you still like the Grammys? Would you go to the Grammys?
The Grammys are the Grammys.
Yeah.
It's like the
Mecca.
The Mecca
of the industry.
The Mac Daddy of the industry.
The Mac Daddy.
So, it's like, it's the tell-all. So you kind of have to watch it. You feel obligated in a way.
Yeah.
But it was cool. It was like your typical Grammys. You kind of sit through everyone talking for a little while, and then the performances are always fun to watch. Yeah. And it was cool. I think that was the first time I've ever seen Bad Bunny live.
Really?
Yeah.
Like live.
Or like play live. Yeah.
He did open up the show. It was actually pretty freaking cool. If you get a chance, go to YouTube and watch the opening of it. He also won a Grammy for not one of the categories I think we're going to really dive into, but he did take home a Grammy for Best Musica Urbana album with his album Un Verano Sin Ti. So, killer performance by that guy. Cool dude. I would love to meet him.
You think he's still retired now?
Yeah, he was supposed to be retired before this, wasn't he?
Retired, yeah.
Well, we spoke on behalf of that as far as him saying he was retired. Apparently, he's not retired if you're going to come play the Grammys, but we'll see what happens for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So, overall, pretty good. Trevor Noah did awesome, I thought, as the host. I thought it was pretty good. The performances, again, as well. I thought the 50-year anniversary of hip-hop that we've mentioned before, they did a really nice celebration of that. Something I'll mention later as far as some of the acts that were involved. Thought it was awesome. Pretty much every live performance there was awesome. Saw Chris Martin do an award presentation, so shout out to that. Fortunately, they did not win a Grammy, but it is what it is.
They were nominated.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you have as far as the let's jump right into it for the people. The main categories, the big four.
Yeah, so I'm going to break this down into the top four categories. I guess you can call them the top four. There are many categories.
But only four that people care about.
We're not going to sit here for the next 3 hours doing a Grammys Part 2 recap. Not going to happen. So we're going to break it down into record of the year, album of the year. There is a difference. Song of the year, and best new artist. So starting off, record of the year, the Grammy goes to Lizzo with About Damn Time. And she beat out freaking Harry Styles, Kendrick Lamar, who won enough Grammys that night anyway, Adele, Beyonce. So Lizzo, record of the year. Congrats
to Lizzo and Blake Slatkin, who was a part of that, and some other cool individuals that are really sweet dudes behind the scenes.
Yeah, definitely.
I will say Lizzo too. She gave a really awesome presentation speech that hit home with me because she was standing in front of Beyonce. Granted, Lizzo's won Grammys before in 2020 when she had her breakout year in like 2019, 2020. But like to see her just like be a little kid in front of Beyonce, like, I looked up to you. Thank you so much for everything you did. I wouldn't be here without you. I thought that was really awesome. It was really wholesome. And she was like a kid on stage. And that's the beauty of it, you know. These superstars and these famous people, celebrities that are worth millions of dollars, they're still human, you know, and it's still a big deal.
I feel like for Beyonce too, like, or not for Beyonce, but everyone has that feeling about Beyonce.
Yeah.
She's like the mom, like the godmother, you know. It's just like,
have we said bad things about Beyonce? I don't think so.
I don't think you can say bad things about Beyonce.
She is, I like that you said that. She's like the mom of the music industry.
Yeah.
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 All right. Hot mom.
Moving down. Album of the year goes to Harry Styles with Harry's House. He also beat out Beyonce, Bad Bunny, Adele, Coldplay, unfortunately, Kendrick Lamar, and a few others. Album of the year. Harry.
So Harry, again, he actually has been nominated a lot, but hasn't actually won a lot. And he even mentioned it in his speech. He said, you know, this doesn't happen often for me. It's true. Yeah. He really he's been nominated out the wazoo, but has not really actually been able to take anything home. And last night he certainly did well deserved. Also won a Grammy for Best Pop Vocal Album, which is another award. Fun fact about that, Harry's House statistically was amazing. I'm sure you all are aware of it. It's a wonderful album. If you haven't heard it, go listen to it. Yeah. But it was all over the radio and TikTok and such. But Harry's House, the album, had 4 concurrent songs in the top 10. And there was only one other band that did that. And that was in 1964. Any guesses who that would have been in the 60s?
Zeppelin?
No.
Beatles?
The Beatles.
There we go. 4
concurrent top 10 hits. And I think that's significant enough to say that's deserving of a Grammy win for sure.
Zeppelin? I'm going to sound dumb here. When was their first album? I don't think that was even the 60s.
Yeah, not the 60s.
That was probably 70s.
Probably 70s. 80s,
maybe late 60s.
But there's only 2 people that have 4 concurrent top 10 singles, meaning at the same time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really cool production on Harry's House too. You know, it's very different production. First time I heard it, I was like, what's going on here?
There was some weird quirkiness to it.
Yeah.
For him too.
But it works.
It's so beautiful. I love that album. It's great.
Well put together.
It definitely grew on me.
All right, moving on down the line to Song of the Year. And we will, I think before we go down the rabbit hole of what is Record of the Year versus what is Album of the Year, let's just finish out this.
Yeah, take it home.
Yeah. Song of the Year, Just Like That by Bonnie Raitt. What do you know about Bonnie Raitt?
Well, say your piece, and then I'll add some supplemental information.
That's all. I'm passing this over to you.
Okay, so there's critique saying that Bonnie Raitt perhaps didn't deserve the Song of the Year nomination because if you look at the other artists in that category,
Lizzo, Taylor Swift, Harry Styles, Beyonce, Adele, Kendrick Lamar.
Yes.
To name a few.
Okay, this song called Just Like That had 1/60th the amount of streams as the lowest streaming songs in that category. 1/60th of the lowest streaming songs of the other nominees.
I think when I pulled it up, I don't even know if it had 1 million listens.
Correct. So, and just for that information, the one that is the other lowest streaming song is God's Plan by DJ Khaled. Just for reference in that category. Bonnie Raitt's actually not a nobody. She's a 13-time Grammy-winning artist.
She's been around.
She's a legend. She really is. And I think this is what it comes down to. And I'm gonna break it down for everybody if you can't understand why I think she won. Because at first too, I was like, how? Just immediately, how? Generational. It's a generational difference. We're younger. We're 25. I don't know her age, but she's been around since at least the 90s, putting out music. So we'll say 80s into the 90s. She won her first Grammy in 1990. So that's what I'm basing that off of. We've already discussed how the Grammys have older musicians and artists and executives in the voting process. People that have been in the business for 20, 30 some years. Mm-hmm. So I think what it comes down to is Bonnie Raitt represents a different style of music that we just don't see as much in these categories anymore. Everything we see is pop, synth production. You're not seeing a freaking rock and roll star with a guitar singing as like an actual musician. Not to say that any of these other people aren't musicians, but you kind of get the difference here, right? When you had Brandi Carlile come out with a full band and she's playing guitar and singing that rock and roll. It's something that you don't see as much with the TikTok generation or, Charlie Puth just banging his highlighter on a coffee cup and putting it in
a light switch or something
and putting it in Pro Tools. And not to knock him and his musical brilliance, but it's just that difference, especially between the generations.
Yeah, I mean, if you're comparing it with what is on the list of the nominees for Song of the Year, it is different. I mean, it's not something that's rap. It's not pop. I mean, Adele maybe would kind of be out there with Easy on Me. It's just her and a piano.
Yeah.
Opposed to Bonnie Raitt, it's just her and like an acoustic guitar. Kind of.
So I think it's an ode to the older generation because we're really not going to see it that much anymore, especially after Coldplay's gone.
Yeah.
Mainskin's a rock band, I guess, coming out on the scene. But they're harder to come by because it's easier to just have like a pop artist that can just be an image that's sold and they sing or auto-tune or do whatever. Sure.
It's a well-written song. I will say that. It's very raw.
It is. Very raw. Particularly, I don't like it. I'll be honest. I don't like the song. It's boring to me. But
you heard it here first. Forest Lake Morning Show. We'll catch you next week. Thanks for watching.
Great. Now we can't work. Now we can't work with Bonnie Raitt in the future when it comes to our success.
Hey, you said it, not me.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to get kicked out of the studio that day. Writing with her.
Well, keeping with Mainskin, as you were just saying, we'll dive down to Best New Artist, and Mainskin did not win.
No, they did not.
Unfortunately, I do like them.
Cool.
But the winner of this category, Samara Joy.
Yes, Samara Joy. I don't know nothing about her. I'll be honest.
Me neither.
But her speech too, same thing. She's young. She's real young. And she said, I literally have been watching you guys all of you on TV for years. Which is amazing.
I do like this list, though, of the nominees because I don't know anyone but Mainskin.
It fits the theme of the Grammy.
I do like that.
And for that, we will go check them out and be studious music news presenters on this Force Like morning evening show.
Yeah.
They were playing her song as she was walking up. She has a deep, soulful voice. I don't know if you heard it. It was really awesome. So I am excited to hear more about her. But yeah, to your point, it's a good thing we don't know them. They're the best new artists. Let's get turned on to them. So
we'll go check it out. We'll do some research. We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next week on the podcast.
All right. Before we wrap up, we want to keep this one a little shorter.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to go down this rabbit hole real quick because this was a little confusing to me, and if it was confusing to me, I'm sure it's confusing to everyone else.
Absolutely.
All right. Album of the year versus record of the year. They sound like the same damn thing.
Certainly do.
All right. According to the Grammys, this is on Grammy.com, album of the year. Here we go. All right. The recordings must contain at least 5 different tracks and a total playing time of 15 minutes or a total playing time of at least 30 minutes with no minimum track requirement. Voters in this category are expected to consider the quality of the artistry of the collection of tracks as a whole, and this Grammy is awarded to any artist, featured artist, songwriter of new material, producer, recording engineer, mixer, and mastering engineer with at least 33% playing time of the album. Sounds like a lot of lawyer talk. All right.
Certainly very wordy.
Record of the year explained. Where is it? Record of the year awards a single track and recognizes the artist's performance as well as the overall contributions of the producer, recording engineers, mixers, and mastering engineers. That sounds like the same damn thing. I was reading this. I'm like, wait a minute. Like,
all right, Brendan. So dumb it down for the people now.
Dumb it down for all of us laymen down here. All right. The difference between Record of the Year and Album of the Year is that Record of the Year is awarded for a single or for one track on an album, whereas Album of the Year is awarded for the entire album.
Ah.
So then you're like, oh, yeah, problem solved.
That makes sense.
Wrong. Now you think, okay, if Record of the Year can be a single, then what the hell is Song of the Year?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, God. Record of the Year is awarded to the performing artist, the producer, recording engineer, or mixer for that specific song. That's Record of the Year. Song of the Year is awarded to the individual songwriter. So whoever wrote the song is Song of the Year.
But still accepted by the artist pretty much most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Lizzo accepting the award with Blake Slacken.
Right. If they didn't write that song, though, they can still win Record of the Year, but they wouldn't win Song of the Year.
Oh, you can't simultaneously win it, is what you're saying?
I'm not sure, but if they didn't write it, then the Song of the Year would go to the actual songwriter for that song.
Okay, so it's a team effort.
That's the rabbit hole.
Man, we
had to clear that up.
Jeez, do we have to charge the people for that content?
Dude.
God damn, this Course Hero class over here going on right now.
Yeah, crazy.
Thank you for breaking that down for us, because even you asked me, and I've read it a number of times, and I always forget.
Yeah,
the terms will always confusing.
Up. Yeah,
it's one of those. So those are your top 4, the biggest ones that we mostly all care about, but there's obviously the full list that you can see on the website. But before we get out of here, we do have to mention a few firsts that happened that were record-breaking and, I guess culturally shifting for the industry. But also, let me real quick jump back to what I said earlier, that there was a celebration for the 50 years of hip-hop that is happening this year, something we mentioned on a previous episode. But yesterday, I think the best performance was this hip-hop performance where they featured Busta Rhymes, DJ Jazzy Jeff, Ice-T, Grandmaster Flash, Future, Glorilla, DJ Drama, Big Boy, Method Man, Run DMC, Salt and Peppa, Queen Latifah, Questlove, and The Roots, Swizz Beatz, Too Short, De La Soul, The Lox, Missy Elliott, Public Enemy, Scarface, Lil Baby, and Nelly.
What? Oh my God.
And there are still...
That was a long list.
Yeah, there are still so many hip-hop artists that they could not get there logistically, and probably also ones like Eminem who boycott the Grammys for reasons that are not to be discussed right now. But the Grammys were awesome, and in conjunction with that, we witnessed Beyonce breaking history for the most record wins of all time with 32.
32 Grammys.
Yes.
Crazy.
So she was stuck in traffic when they gave her the Grammy for Best R&B Song. Presented by Viola Davis. The song was Cuff It. Now, this award for most Grammys ever won by an individual was held by George Celti with 31, and he was an orchestral conductor. So kind of slipped under the radar, probably only got his Grammys at the pre-Grammy party. But
Silent Killer. I like it.
Everything changed when, obviously, you just read off the... actually, no, she didn't win any of the big 4... What she won to break the record was Best Dance Electronic Album, Beyonce, with Renaissance. That's the one that broke the record. Now, we also both talked about something Beyonce said, and worth mentioning, that she thanked the queer community at the end of the speech. And immediately, and I'll admit my ignorance, I was like, what? How? What is...
Well,
the
I came to you.
significance?
I'm like, do you hear what Beyonce said? I was confused. I was like, why would she bring that up?
Yes.
And then you explained it to me, and I was like, wow.
And this is why it's
I didn't know that.
Exactly. Because it's worth bringing up, because there's people like us and maybe people like you who didn't know that the actual origins of the EDM scene comes out of Chicago at LGBTQ clubs that were back in the day, like we're talking 80s, 90s, actually were like low key. So it wasn't the way that it is now, where we're actually talking about things and starting to accept people for who they are. So it was really interesting and eye-opening to have Beyonce say that on a national stage with 12.4 million viewers, and for people like us to go learn and get smart on the actual origins of some genres, something we can actually do an episode on. And then also for other people, or for you to hear it here. And in conjunction with that, we also had the first transgender to win a Grammy, which was pretty impressive in the Unholy track with Kim Petras and Sam Smith.
Yep.
So Sam Smith's definitely revitalizing his career right now with that song, and I think it's off of one of his albums, a new album of his. But the feature with Kim Petras, they won a Grammy for it, which was, I think, which one did they win the Grammy for real quick before we get out of here?
Oh, what category you're saying?
Yeah, I forget. I guess I didn't write it down, but they did win the Grammy. I thought they won one of the big fours.
See if I can find it.
It's all right. I don't think... Man, I'm just upset myself that I thought I had it written down here, and I didn't. I took all these notes. Oh, I do have it. Okay.
Best pop duo / group performance.
There we go.
All right.
I have terrible handwriting. That's why. They were the fourth announced Grammy Best Pop Duo. You're right.
Yeah.
So shout out to them. Great success. And shout out to everybody. It's really wholesome to see that at the end of the day, everybody's together for an event. It's not, regardless of the fact that it is a special moment for some that win the Grammy, it's just cool to see people come together for music, which is
certainly.
all music
That's
has
the
ever
Grammys.
been. Yeah, and I think it's the importance that we downplayed yesterday on the day of the Grammys, especially with our mix engineer there, Daniela Rivera, who was posting all about it and was looking like she had the awesomest time of her life and still partying today. I guess there's
She's still going.
I guess the Grammys have after parties.
Daniela, you dog.
Yeah, Daniela, don't party too hard out there. All right, be safe. All right, get back home to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And then obviously our mastering engineer Mike Bozzi was out there. So it's just cool to see people come together for music. That's all you can ever ask for is a peaceful, safe event and people celebrating success.
Yeah.
With that being said, I got nothing else to say.
Think that's all we got. Oh,
what's up?
This Friday, the 10th.
Oh my God.
Go to your nearest Spotify station, your telephones, get them up. Our newest single comes out.
Didn't even think about it.
So I'll wait.
What are you waiting for?
Come Friday, you won't have to wait for anything.
You
have to wait for the 5 minutes to end.
The Forest Lake is putting out a single.
Oh, The Forest Lake.
The Forest Lake.
Yeah.
The Forest Lake. Everybody, we would appreciate you checking it out, and we'll obviously post a little bit more about it as the week goes on in anticipation for So I'll Wait.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
But until then, keep doing your thing. Be safe out there. Have fun. Listen to a lot of music and a lot of Forest Lake. And we'll see you on the Forest Lake Morning Show this weekend.
I don't know what that accent was, but I'll go with it.
I don't know either.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Peace.